Alright, let's get real for a second. The Wuthering Waves community is buzzing, and it's because Chisa is almost here and people are starting to realize something big. Chisa might not just be another DOT support. She could be the next universal support character that completely shifts how we build teams heading into 3.0 and beyond. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta sa inyong lahat? I am traveling in Singapore on business, so my apologies for the AI slave voice. Now, before you roll your eyes and say that calling Chisaki a universal support is a stretch, think back to how we've seen this story play out before. Remember Shorekeeper? Remember Sanhua? What about Mortify? They weren't flashy, but their design changed everything. They redefined how supports worked by being universally useful, fitting seamlessly into almost every comp and making the game's foundation feel different overnight. Is that the kind of impact Chisa could have? Before we dive deep into her mechanics, let's talk about something that can help you make your polls go further this patch. Getting a massive 24% discount on Loot Bar is a great way to keep your top-ups cheap and safe. Loot Bar offers cheaper than in-game top-ups, and if you use my link in the description, you can get an extra 10% off your first Lunite subscription, Battle Pass, or refill purchase. Trusted by gacha fans for their reliability and customer service, they're rated near perfect on Trustpilot. DIY mobile top-up means you get your discounts without giving your password. I know because I use them. So if you're planning to poll, this might just be your wallet's best friend. Hit that link, save big, and help support the channel. Now back to the video. Now let's talk about what makes Chisa tick. She's a Havoc Broadblade Resonator with a signature mechanic called Havoc Bane. And that one phrase might just define the next era of team building. Havoc Bane is a unique DOT-based debuff that applies over time and can potentially interact with the damage of other Resonators. That's huge, because unlike typical DOT skills that only benefit the unit applying them, Havoc Bane could scale across your entire team. If Kurogurame expands on this mechanic in 3.0, we might be looking at an interconnected DOT ecosystem, where lingering damage across multiple elements works together instead of separately. In other words, Chisa could be the anchor point for an entire new synergy system. But here's the real twist. Based on our previous video where we broke down her early calculations, her personal damage output is actually quite low. Players expecting her to melt bosses on her own will be disappointed by her single loop rotation. But that's not a weakness, it's a clue. Chisa's design isn't about personal DPS, it's about filling in every missing role negative status teams have been struggling with since their inception. She's not just a universal support, she's a universal fixer. A buffer, a debuffer, and even a healer for teams that rely on poison, corrosion, or any form of lingering damage. She doesn't just add numbers, she stabilizes entire team structures. Think of it this way. Negative status teams have always been strong conceptually, but they've lacked balance. Too fragile to sustain long fights, too inconsistent when it comes to scaling, and often forced to run suboptimal supports that don't fully sync with their DOT mechanics. Chisa is designed to plug those gaps. Her Havoc Bane acts like the glue holding the system together, applying consistent debuffs, providing buffs to amplify allies' damage, and even granting shield and healing for those teams. That's the real reason her low damage doesn't matter. Her entire value comes from enabling others to reach their peak efficiency. If you look back at Shorekeeper, her kit didn't look powerful in terms of damage at first glance either. Crit buffs, sustain, and that's it basically. But what made her revolutionary was how flexible she is. She made every team better without demanding the spotlight. That's exactly what Chisa brings, but on a larger scale. Instead of just protecting or buffing, she coordinates the entire rhythm of negative status teams. She's the system's conductor, ensuring every DOT, debuff, and decay effect hits harder and lasts longer. This timing isn't random. We're closing in on 3.0, and historically, this is when Kuro drops a bridge character, the one that connects the current meta to what's next. Chisa fits that role perfectly. DOT-based teams have been gaining traction since 2.4, with units like Phoebe, Zani, and Spectral Rover bringing their own flavors of lingering damage. But those setups still lack cohesion. They have power, but not structure. Chisa provides that missing structure, becoming the universal support that binds all negative status teams together. And her debuff can interact or stack with existing and future negative status effects. We're looking at a Resonator who can amplify every kind of negative status damage across multiple elements. That's not just versatility, it's ecosystem control. She becomes the single unit capable of linking multiple resonance types into one coherent strategy. Her low damage suddenly becomes irrelevant when you realize she turns everyone else's numbers into something monstrous. Now let's speculate. If 3.0 introduces another region or resonance type that leans into DOT or status effects, Chisa could become its cornerstone. Imagine a world where every element has its own unique lingering effect. Burn, corrosion, bleed, you name it. Chisa's Havoc Bane could become the universal amplifier, stacking or interacting with every one of them. She'd not only boost their damage but keep the team alive through sustain mechanics built into her debuff system. That would make her one of the most valuable investments in the game's long-term history, on par with or even beyond Rover. If you followed Wuthering Waves long enough, you know Kuro's pattern. Every major patch gets a meta-bridging character. Chisa feels like that connector between the current fragmented meta and the status effect-centric future. She's not a unit you bring for personal numbers. She's the backbone of every negative status comp moving forward, the piece that makes everything finally click. Even without her final numbers, her previews and theory crafting make it clear that her role is to enable and reinforce entire negative status compositions. Whether she buffs, debuffs, heals, or extends DOT uptime, her kit is about universal coverage. She's the stabilizer for every lingering damage team that struggles with sustain or cohesion. Everything about her screams stability, longevity, and adaptability, the true qualities of a universal support, buffer, debuffer, and even a healer rolled into one. Her personal damage might look low, but her real value is in filling in every gap negative status teams have, turning them from fragile concepts into self-sustaining engines of synergy. She may not hit hard, but she'll make your entire team unstoppable. So if you're a player who values long-term investment, Chisa is that rare character who's worth every pull. Because while others chase raw damage, she's the one shaping the systems those damage dealers depend on. And on a side note, remember Geshu Min? Rumor has it he'll be a Havoc Bane powerhouse who sacrifices a portion of his health to amplify his damage output. And if that's true, there's only one person he'll want watching his back, Chisa. Her sustain, healing, and debuff control make her the perfect partner for any unit that plays on the edge of danger. Together, they'd form a high-risk, high-reward duo that turns self-damage mechanics into pure synergy. Here's the takeaway. Chisa isn't meant to top charts. She's meant to redefine team balance for dot and negative status comps. She's the healer, the debuffer, the enabler, and the silent architect of the meta's next evolution. The low numbers on her personal attacks are a distraction. The real value is in how much stronger she makes everyone else. Comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Chisa's support-focused design is underrated, or are players overlooking the start of something bigger? Either way, this is one release that could quietly reshape Wuthering Waves for months to come. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for massive damage buffs. Ring the bell if you want to receive even greater gacha blessings. Thank you so much for watching, maraming salamat po, and I will see you in the next video drop. Goodbye.